Okay, we are live. Hi, I'm Allie Brown. I'm here with my special guest, Tonya Dalton, who I will introduce in just a minute. I'm so excited to have you here, Tonya. Welcome. This is our first official episode of We Lead Live. What we're going to be doing is talking with some really brilliant 7- and 8-figure entrepreneurs on what they are doing right now in the middle of all this and have been doing to not only maintain their businesses, which may require some changes, but also really thrive and look at, okay, what can I create this quarter, next quarter? How am I doing things differently now? How am I going to do them in the future? And I think it's an important conversation to have. I see a lot of interesting advice going around, especially from some people who may have not run a business of your size. If you're watching right now, I don't think a lot of the real decisions are being talked about right now. And I thought this would be a great chance to bring on some extraordinary women leaders I know and what they're doing to navigate through this change. And we're going to have some fun. So first of all, I just want to say, Tonya, thanks for being my first guest. And it just worked out perfectly. No pressure, but this has to be really good today.
No pressure.
Okay. So Tonya's were you Asheville?
I'm in Asheville, North Carolina.
Asheville, North Carolina. Tanya is a productivity expert, but what's fascinating about what she does is it's really targeted toward more of the woman business owner because we approach things so differently and holistically. I know we're going to talk about that today. She's also author of The Joy. This is opposite, so I'm getting, hold on. Yeah, okay. It's like a mirror, I'm backwards. The Joy, I'm going to hide, of missing out. Look, I'm missing out behind the book. Okay. Top book ranked by Forbes, Fortune. I mean, people really saw what you're doing and saw it as a whole new approach to this. Also, Tonya runs a very successful company. Besides being a best-selling author, she actually runs a real business with physical products, all kinds of stuff. So you're a great guest to have on today because you have so many different kind of channels in your business. But if you don't mind, do you want to back up and talk a bit about, how you became the productivity expert and how your business was built?
Yes, absolutely. Because I think especially in the times that we're in now, it's really important to note that I started my very first business with $50 during the Great Recession. So around 2008, when everybody's getting laid off their jobs and all of that uncertainty was happening in the world around us in 2008, which kind of feels like where we are now, I started my first business. And at the time, I was selling to friends, maybe friends of friends. I would call myself a hobbyist. And I decided I was going to scale that business and grow it very quickly so my husband could quit worrying about being in corporate America. He has his MBA in marketing, and have him come work alongside of me. And I was able to make that happen within about a year. So he and I have been working together since 2009. And around 2012, we made the choice to move where we wanted to move, which was Asheville, North Carolina, up in the mountains where we love. And so about a year after I moved to Asheville, I looked at my husband and I said, I love you. I love business. I love working with people, but I don't love what I'm creating. And so I completely shifted gears and closed up my first business and opened up Inkwell Press, which is a company that's focused on equipping women with the knowledge and the tools to really confidently step into intentional leadership while working to create a world where they're seen and treated as equals on a regular basis. So we create productivity tools. We have tools that we sell in Office Depot, Office Max, and online. We also have services where we have programs and group accountability coaching programs and all different types of offerings to really help women be productive. And by productive, I mean not doing more, but doing what's most important. Really growing, thriving lives while still growing, thriving businesses at the same time.
Yeah, we had a laugh recently. You were also a guest on, last week on my podcast on Glam Radio, and we were joking about the productivity systems that have seemed to be the most popular over the last few decades are all from like corporate men. And what's interesting, is when you become an entrepreneur, when you are also a woman who has typically, a more holistic view. You're managing so many more things, whether you're the breadwinner or not. It's just natural. It's how we're wired. So we're working and then coming home and dealing with, and we're the ones at 2 a.m. going, oh my gosh, I think we're almost out of toilet paper. Do we have a coffee option? I don't know. So this is the stuff we're thinking about. And if first system when I saw what you offered, that to approach it in this holistic way. How
Mhm.
do you feel it's more or less relevant right now with everything going on?
Oh, yeah. And I love what you said there because it's true. We have been listening to how to be productive from men telling us just about the workspace for the most part. And when it's for women, it's all about the home space. And there hasn't really been anything that's bridged that gap between we're more than just an amazing businesswoman. We're also many times a wife, a mother, an aunt, a friend, all those other things. So it really is this more like whole life way of looking at productivity. In fact, the
Mhm.
book, The Joy of Missing Out, is considered one of the first books written on productivity systems by a woman for women. So that's
Yeah,
been pretty exciting because I think that this is a thing that's been missing. And I think that right now, so many people are starting to notice that because suddenly we're at home a lot,
yeah,
a lot more. And it feels like, how do I make sure that I'm still really giving my fullest self to work while I'm still giving my fullest self to my family and to my spouse or my significant other? And right now, with all the uncertainty going on, we're starting to really realize, wow, maybe I have systems going at work, but I need more systems running at home. I like to tell women that you can bring home the bacon, you can fry it up in a pan, but if the kitchen is burning down around you, it does you no good. And I
yeah,
think that's so true. Our homes are our kitchen. And a lot of times they're just like, they're up in flames, especially right now with kids at home, homeschooling, and maybe having our husbands or our significant others, co-working alongside of us if we're not used to that. So I really feel like a lot of this has come to the forefront lately, where it really is, wow, I need to make sure I'm focusing in both places in my life, in my work life and in my personal life as well.
yeah. So what you teach is relevant. Have you had to apply it to your own business and life
Oh,
lately? That's what I really want to get to.
yeah, yeah. I like to say I eat what I cook. So when I talk about these things, I actually implement them and I live them in my life. But I'm not used to having two kids home from school, getting homeschooled on a regular basis. So that's definitely new and has thrown a full monkey wrench into the plans. And John and I are used to working together. We sit across the desk from each other. He's my CMO, I'm the CEO, but it's very different when we're here at home all the time, literally at home, the four of us all kind of working in our own spaces. And so I think it's taken some adjusting and realizing like, okay, what are the things that aren't really working? What do we need to shift? What do we need to adjust? What do we need to change? And I think that's one of the things that, that's happening too with our businesses is we're used to looking at our businesses like this, right? Like this
Mhm.
is what I do. This is how I do things. And suddenly we're like, oh, I have to look from over here, right? So it's these pivots and these shifts that we're having to make at home and in our work life and in how we do our businesses and everything else. I'm starting to see that definitely here. Just, I have a 13-year-old and a 17-year-old, and making sure that they have everything done that they need to get done while still actually getting my own work done. It's been a little bit of a juggling act. I think it has
Yeah.
been for almost everybody.
Yeah. Now, your business, just want to clarify for everybody, has both the physical products, which you mentioned,
Mhm.
which I
Yes.
mean, so you're dealing with shipping. You were dealing with shipping and tariff issues even before all of
Oh,
this happened, right? Like a
yes.
few months ago.
Mhm.
So you have the physical products, then you have online programs. You have
Mhm.
full-time employees there where you are. Tell us
Yes.
about some of the perhaps hard decisions or realizations that you've had. This was a wake up call for everybody in every type of business. I don't care what type of business you have. Even someone
Mhm.
like, even a company like Amazon, for example, which this is made for Amazon, they had to jump up and ramp
Yes.
up really quickly a lot of their
Mhm.
systems. So, you know, for a business owner like you who's making these real-time decisions, what were some of the things you had to consider and what did you decide?
Yeah, well, I think one of the things that's really going to come out of this C19 experience that we're all having is that suddenly we have a lot more clarity. What's really most important? I think so often we're so busy thinking that everything is equal in importance, and
Hmm.
suddenly that's all become so much clearer. So for me, one of the first things I said to my team was, we are going to Pareto principle the fire out of everything. We need to cut the fat. We need to figure out where are we spending our time, our energy, and our focus in that's not really bringing us a return on our investment. It's not really, really servicing our clients and our customers the best way possible. So really, it was the first realization I had was, you know what, we were getting a little bit of like comfort weight, right? Kind of like what we're all getting from all the banana bread we're all eating lately. We get a little comfortable in our businesses. When times are good and easy, it's easy to be like, oh yeah, I have all these different apps I'm adding on, and this adds up, and it's $5 here and $10 here. I had to stop and take a good look, first of all, at my finances. Okay, was I doing a really good job of socking aside money to put into savings to be able to give myself a cushion? And I was doing it, but I could do better. And so now I'm realizing that now there's not a lot I can do about it right now, but I can put plans in place to start doing better in the future. And then really looking at what are the products that we're offering, because right now we're already working on products that are going to be coming out for fall. Right? So, okay, if we need to cut back some of our expenses, what products do we really want to spend our time, first of all, designing and paying for? The whole manufacturing process, not to mention all the freight. So we've really taken a much harder look at the products that we're offering. And then the other thing is I feel like it's giving me this permission. And I think you're experiencing this too, Allie, because it's giving us this permission to be aggressively imperfect. Someone used that phrase in our one of our trust calls the other day, and I think it's so true. Like this with this show that you're doing right now. This is the first time to do it. You gave yourself permission to let's just try it, right? Let's throw this out there. And I feel like I've gotten a lot of that permission because we no longer have to have it all figured out before we're ready to roll it out, because everybody's in this same kind of crazy sinking boat. So it's like, let's try something. Let's see what really is going to resonate with our customers and clients. And let's go for that. One of the things we've been talking about for a long time is offering a masterclass, like a free masterclass to give some women some education. And we hadn't done it because it was like, oh, someday I need to get it all together. It needs to be perfect. I need to make sure I have these things all done. And now we're like, you know what? Let's go for it. Let's try it. Women need this right now. So we're doing it. We're doing one on Wednesday. And I've not done it before, but I feel like I've learned a ton, and it's given me the permission to just go for it. And I think that's one of the positives that's coming out of the situation is it's allowing me to pivot without having it all figured out.
Yeah.
And that, as a recovering perfectionist, that's huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah. What are some of the times that, you've had over the last few weeks that, you maybe had to have a tough talk with the team or talk about, how you'd have to adjust how you're working actually at the company?
Yeah, we've had a lot of, I'm a really transparent leader. I like to really make sure that my team knows what I'm working on for them behind the scenes. I want to make sure that they're feeling secure, because I feel like when you give people knowledge, it empowers them. And I don't want them having this, unstable ground where they're like, are we okay? Are we not okay? What is she not telling us? So I sat down with my team and I said, here's the facts. Here's where we are with our finances. Here's where we are with what I'm doing to help supplement those. I feel like I'm in good shape for making sure that no one has to cut back on hours. We're in good shape with where we are. I'm working on getting, my the PPP and filed, and I was working on getting the EIDL. And so I was keeping them updated. I just gave them an update this morning during our team meeting of here's where we are and this is what I'm seeing. And I think that because I've been so transparent about what I'm doing for them, they have really stepped up to the plate. I actually had one of my employees come to me and say, listen, I really appreciate you telling us so much about what's going on. And I spoke with my husband, and if we need to, I'm willing to take a pay cut just to make sure that we stay running. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
I'm sure some people listening are like, I haven't had that experience.
I think it does help, though, to really show them I'm doing all that I can. And so they're wanting to show up just as much for me. And so it really is, too, like maybe I can't compensate them with extra bonuses and those kinds of things financially right now. But what are the other things I can provide for them to really help them want to step up for us? Setting hours and expectations of how I'm expecting life to work for them right now. My expectations for what they're able to, how quickly they can respond to me and those kinds of things have adjusted and shifted. And I've given them the permission to say, it's going to be different. I'm not going to expect you to respond in 2 minutes. I'm not going to expect you to respond in 30 minutes. You've got kids at home, you've got other things going on. And I think that they really appreciate that. So I feel like just being totally honest and true and real. And honestly, that aligns completely with our mission of who we are and what we want for women. I want women to feel good and successful in their business life, but I want them to feel good and successful in their home life too. So right now is my time to walk the walk, right? To really live by those core values and say, yes, we are still a family first business for me and for my team. And what does that look like? So I think that's part of the reason why they've been willing to step up to the plate. They've been willing to do things extra for me that I wouldn't naturally ask them to do. I felt like, when my employee came to me and said that about being willing to lower her compensation, I mean, isn't that as a manager or as a boss something that you dream of, is having team members like that? So it really is, this idea of transparency, I think, has helped, and sharing these difficult conversations. I feel this way with our employees. I feel this way with our children, really letting them in. Obviously, you don't have to pull back all the curtains and show them the wizard behind the scenes, but at the same time, showing them that you are doing your damnedest to bring it home for them really does make a difference. Now, I will say, I said to my team, I feel like we're in good shape. We're not going to have to cut back on hours, but we need to bring it in April. We need to have a good month. We need to do what we need to do. We need to try our very best. This is not permission to just check out of work and not show up, or to tell me that you're too busy, making that bread recipe that we keep seeing on Pinterest. You still got to do the work. I mean, expectations have shifted, but let's be honest. I still expect you to show up. I still expect my best version of you, and you should expect it for yourself as well.
Yeah, no, I love that. That's been the best segment I've heard on leading your team right now, because it's a careful balance of them knowing the reality, but you also being very strong, saying, listen, we're going to be okay. Here's what I'm doing, but you got to bring it. You've got to bring this hustle now, because, and this is a different conversation for small business than it is for corporate. I mean, from my observations and the women that I've been talking to in different types of positions, it's because they know that this is very intrinsically connected to also, your finances and your well-being. And I think they suddenly see to how much you're putting on the line and have always been putting on the line for them. And it's a wake-up call. So I think that's fantastic. And I think, those of you watching right now, and if you have teams, especially teams you're close with, it's a difficult time, because they may feel like, they see you checking the bank balance more now. They see you cutting costs. They know that their job is critical. So make sure you're speaking with them. Make sure you're leading them. And this is where, this time is going to really separate the leaders just from the regular business owners and how they approach this. And, I'll share myself, it took me a few weeks to get my head around all this. I was like, what is this, and what is happening, and having to make some changes. And I told them, I said, the way I process things, I'm going to need a little time to get my head around this, and then I'm going to come out and know exactly, what we may need to do differently. And so just that constant communication is so important. Tell us about your masterclass that's happening this week, actually.
Yes, my aggressively imperfect masterclass. Yes,
maybe you should just call it that.
I really should. You know what? This is just me. And to be honest with you, what's funny is, as I've been preparing for this and really diving into how I want it to run, I feel like I'm being even more true to myself. My personality is really going to come out, who I am and how I believe that we need to be serious about business, but that doesn't mean we can't have a good time and that we can't have a lot of fun. So it's been really great for me in that regard. So the masterclass on Wednesday is all about how I scale to 7 figures while still having a thriving personal life. I truly believe that we should be able to kill it in the workplace and still feel like we have the time and the focus for our kids and our families. And I feel like so many people think we have to sacrifice one for the other. So I just had an article in entrepreneur.com where I talked about how I scaled my business to 7 figures, how my husband quit corporate America, and I walked through this structure that I call the 3 S's. And so I had so many questions about that article. People were like, I want to know more. I was like, you know what? This is the time. Aggressively Imperfect. We're going to do this masterclass. I want to show people how it's done. One of the things that I found, I wrote for another article in Entrepreneur, is during the last Great Recession, we had a 26% increase in women-owned businesses, which is phenomenal. It's an opportunity for women to step into leadership, to step into who they really want to be in their business life, right? And into entrepreneurship. So if I can be a catalyst to help more women get into, entrepreneurship and feeling like they have more say over their lives, then I should totally do it. I need to get out of my own way and stop worrying about this is what I do for my business, and instead start looking here and going, oh, but this also is a way that I can serve my women. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the great pivot, right? We hear that word pivot all the time, but the great pivot really is, this gives us an opportunity to look differently at how we're serving our people. How are we serving them? Is it just in this one singular path, or are there other ways that we can go from the left and go from the right and really help create this lift for them as a whole? A lot of times, like, this masterclass is free, but it really is about creating these women who are excited about leadership, who then maybe will want to do one of my programs. That would be great. But really, ultimately, my mission is to equip them with that knowledge to step into leadership. So let's start doing that on a regular basis. That's what I think is great here, right?
Where should they go to learn more?
Yeah, you can go to tonyadalton.com/masterclass to sign up. Okay. So Tonya Dalton, Tonya with an O and a Y.
Yeah, it's interesting. I know you're getting a lot of media lately too, in how people are now having to navigate this completely differently, how they were productive in an office, for example. And, I'm a little sick of the being productive at home topics. Like, everyone needs to move on. Like, like top 10 tips for working at home. But you do need, some people need the tips though, you see.
Some people need the tips. But the thing is I keep seeing these things that are like, it's okay not to be productive. It's okay not to be productive. And I feel like one of my missions is to really redefine what productivity is for women. Productivity is not about checking 1,000 things off our list. It's not about wearing yourself out because you're just chasing after this ridiculous to-do list. It's about doing what's most important. So if we're at home and we're spending, doing like 1 or 2 things for our business and doing 1 or 2 things for our kids that nourishes our soul, which helps us feel like closer to that ideal life we're looking for, that's being productive. Being productive doesn't mean just doing things at work. It also means spending time with your kids, really grasping onto what I call these $1 million minutes, which are times that we have with those people that we love, that if they were gone tomorrow, we pay $1 million to get back. There's so many $1 million minutes right now, and being productive is spending your time soaking in that, savoring that time, lingering a little bit longer with your kids. Being productive doesn't have to mean that you're chasing down everything on your list of things to do for work.
Yeah, that's the crux of like why I love your stuff. And that's what I want all of you watching to take in that this is an amazing time that you're going to get very discerning about what's important and not important. Now, I've seen people talking about this in many respects, but really when you're running a business, you have to get then extremely ruthless right now about the time that you put in. It has to have an ROI. And then there's an ROI with your family as well. Like, we've had the kids home. My twins are almost 7 now. I still haven't explained to them they're not really going to have a birthday party, although I get out of planning the birthday party this year, which probably is a good thing. And it sounds a little cliche, I know, but just having that time with them, this extra time and different, it's given us a whole new perspective on what we want for them and how we want our life to maybe be different going forward. And also remember, we work in cycles. There's going to be times that we're hustling and hammering, and there's going to be times that we get a little more reoriented, which I think right now it's been. So, it hasn't been an easy time for anyone I know, but definitely almost everyone I know has had some type of wake-up call about their business or their life and something that will benefit them in the future. And that's the silver lining.
I think absolutely. I think, it's really hard to know what to throw overboard until your ship is sinking. And right now we feel like our ship is sinking. And right now we're like, whoo, that thing, that can go, this can, suddenly we know what to throw overboard, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully one of those is not your kids. It might be. But it really is so much easier to say, these are the people I want in my boat. And if I want these people in my boat, what else can fit in this boat along with me?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's so much clearer right now that, you know what? I'm enjoying this time with my kids. I'm enjoying, not every minute. Let's be honest here. Let's have like a little dose of reality. It's not all sunshine and rainbows around here, but it is nice that I'm working for a while, and then Kate and I will go play ping pong for a little bit. And then I get to have lunch with them. And then I get to go back into my work mode. And so it really is nice to have these little pockets of time in our day. And I think to myself, okay, what else can I get rid of to make more of those pockets beyond this?
Yeah.
To the point where when we're not sheltering at home, that we're able to really create these $1 million minutes on a regular basis. Because quite frankly, it's what your family deserves, but it's what you deserve. You are so much more than just a worker bee. And we have to stop acting like we are defined by how many things we check off that list. We're defined by so much more. And right now, it's so much easier to see that, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much for your unique perspective on all of this. And I just want to give a quick plug that this show is officially sponsored by The Trust. The Trust is our new network for 7- and 8-figure women entrepreneurs who are looking for something really different. And what you can do is, if you're interested in that, go to jointhetrust.org. You can fill out an inquiry form. Women like Tonya are the women who are in there. And I have to say, the conversations in our app lately have been incredible. The women that are helping each other, update on the loan situations. I got my payment, have you? Here's another resource. Just really jumping in and helping each other, which I think, at the level that you're at, Tonya, and a lot of the other women may be watching, could you say just a few words about the organization?
Absolutely, because here's the truth. I'm in several different kind of groups and things like that. And I hear a lot of conversations that are based on fear or rumors or, oh my gosh, panic here and there. And I feel like the trust is this, right? Let's really get down to what's important. Let's really focus in on how we can shift and what we need to do and how we can work together. I am such a firm believer in women in business working together, because I feel like when we lift each other up, we can just continue to climb up that ladder together. And we are so much stronger together. And I feel like I see that in the trust, the conversations that we're having, the support we're getting from one another and from you as well, Allie. It makes you feel like you have a stronger foundation. And I think in these unstable times, there's nothing more we can ask for than that, to feel like you're surrounding yourself with other like-minded women who truly believe that we are better together and that we're all here to support each other. There's a lot of scarcity mindset going around in the world at whole, and that the trust is a place of abundance mindset. How can we work together? How can we support each other? How about if I talk about you here? What if I promote your thing here? And I think it's such a beautiful thing. Truly, women together are incredibly strong, and we're able to move mountains. We truly can. And so I love that. I feel like we really are the sum of the 5 people that we hang out with. So who are the people you're hanging out with? That's what I want. I want us to create more communities where women are working together and supporting each other.
Yeah. These are the conversations, all of you watching, you need to wake up to. Get off the news, get off the, check in when you need to later in the day, but really that beginning of the day, you want to be checking in with the people that you are okay picking up their vibes, picking up their conversation, how they feel. And it's a conscious decision that many of us have had to make now, really getting, I'm going to use that word again, just really discerning about where we're getting that vibe from. Because when you make decisions from that place, it's a place of power over panic. And with women like Tonya in there, just thank you so much for joining us, Tonya, today. And again, give the URL of that masterclass for everybody.
Sure. It's tonyadalton.com/masterclass.
Thanks for joining us. This was We Lead Live, and we're going to see you again on Thursday at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, same time. We're going to have a special guest who not only has built multi-million-dollar in physical businesses, but we're going to hear what she's doing behind the scenes and also all the businesses that she advises right now. So especially if you have a physical business, you want to be joining us on Thursday. Keep in touch with us. Thanks for joining, and write your comments and questions. We'll get back to you in a little bit. Bye. Thanks, Tonya.
Thank you.